everyone. We have a guest today. If you guys can't see that, or if you're on audio, you can't see that.
Yeah.
Let me restart. Hi guys, we have a guest today. It's not just me and Brie, which means you get to listen to me talk less. Yay!
Oh my gosh.
It's
We're
like
all
our
equally going to be yapping in
day.
here.
Probably.
Yes.
So,
over it.
no, never apologize for being loud.
Exactly.
We are joined by author Yinn Quiros. She's a Puerto Rican author who writes a delicious bunch of romances, starting off with her Windy City Billionaires series, and most recently delving into the world of sports romance with False Play, which we both loved and adored.
Yes.
She's also a hockey and F1 enthusiast who loves to yap and welcome everyone else into the world of sports. So who better to help us give y'all an intro to Formula One before the season starts? So hello, welcome to the podcast. Thanks for being here.
Hi, I am so honored. You have no idea. When I got that DM, I actually screamed. I actually went to my boyfriend. I was like, oh my god, I get to jab about books and F1. Just talk about the perfect day.
That's a good one.
It's been the highlight of my week.
You're like an extension of us. Like when Mackenzie was reading that, I was like, wait, there's other people out there that, like, of course there's other people out there like us, but I was like, hold on a sec. This is all of the interest in one person.
Yes. You made a post on Threads.
I did?
No, Yin, where
I was
you
like,
were like, does anyone want to start a podcast that's like F1 and books? And I was like,
I'll be tuned in.
just come on to this one real quick, and it'll be like a test run for you, and then we can like launch your podcast career going forward.
Yeah.
So
I still don't have a partner, so if anyone here,
crowdsourcing.
If you're listening, yeah.
anyone, if you're listening, if you love F1 and books, or if you like F1 but you're not that familiar, don't worry, I will teach you. Because I love F1. If you can,
I think that would be even more fun, like a podcast where it's like one person knows everything and the other person's like, what is going on?
You know what? That would be kind of fun. I'm not gonna lie. I just love talking about it. It's funny because I got into F1 about a year and a half ago, and it was completely random. I've always been around the motorsports world, like NASCAR and all that stuff, because of my mom. My mom is like a huge, she, in Puerto Rico, we used to go to street races, which are what we call clandestine races. That's like a huge thing in Puerto Rico. Well, back then it was. I don't know about now. So I've grown around that world, but I've never been into Formula One. I've heard about it, and then suddenly I just got into it one random day, and I was scrolling. I was like, "Oh my god, this is so exciting!" And it's been a rabbit hole ever since. That's all I gotta say.
I think it really sucks you in. I had the same thing.
What happened to me. I have a friend in Australia who I went to go see last year. I got into hockey, and hockey's not a very big sport in Australia, as you can imagine. And a couple times she was like, you should watch F1, you would enjoy it. And I was like, it's just cars going around. I used to watch NASCAR when I was little, with my grandpa, and I was like, cool, but I don't really get it. I was really young, so I was like, I don't really see the draw into this. I watched the 2024 Australian Grand Prix, and Max DNF'd in the first 3 laps, and Carlos won, and I was like, oh, wait a second, okay. And then, as I say to Ken's all the time, I don't like anything normally. It's 0 to 100 immediately, and so I watched that race, and I was like, committed, we're in, that's it. So it was, but same thing, it literally came out of nowhere. I was like, sure, I'll give it a shot. I don't really know if I'm gonna like it, and it was pretty much immediate.
Yeah.
But yeah, watching a race is I feel like you can't say the same for hockey. It takes a little for hockey to stick. I feel like
for me, hockey, the only reason hockey stuck really quickly is because it reminds me a lot of European football.
Ooh,
really?
So, that's a good that's a comparison.
Because I used to play when I was middle school, high school, and the way that the lines work a little bit just reminds me a little bit. And it's not a lot, but there's some correlations just a little bit.
I like that.
I was hooked. And then
I find that so funny because soccer, European football is my least favorite thing ever. I'm getting more into it. Like the NWSL and stuff.
Yeah.
Like as a kid, I was like, this is so boring. Whereas I'm like, hockey's so fun. Like it's so
It's
fast, and
fast,
I feel
yeah.
like soccer is like a more like methodical because like there's so much more room. Whereas
It
I feel
is.
like
I
because
would say
hockey's
it's like a
smaller,
slow, like yeah, it is like a bit of slower pace, but like the way that the defensive lines works and stuff for me is kind of the same a little bit. But I don't even know how I got into hockey. I'm trying to. It's been years.
I was born
That's I was
into
gonna
it, so
yeah.
I don't. I was like, hockey
Okay.
was you don't have a choice. You're just gonna like it, and if you
Yeah.
don't, you're getting exiled from the family. So I'm like, I don't know if it's stuck quicker than F1. It just kind
Mine
of
was
was
like a
like,
much later thing, but I feel like it wasn't. I didn't watch like one game and I was like
Yeah.
committed. You know, maybe I was. I just don't remember it, which it could have been because it was a
Mhm.
while ago.
I
But
I was born in Puerto Rico, so like in Puerto Rico, hockey is just not a thing. Just the other day, I learned that there's actually a Puerto Rican team, but I don't think
there
it's been around very long.
there's a
Oh
Puerto
no.
Rican
the
hockey
women's team
team. Yeah.
Yeah, that. Yeah.
The Hannah Beckman,
national,
it was like part of it, wasn't she?
yeah, but I don't know. I think it's the national team because they
Yeah.
compete. That's the only part I've known. And they dropped the puck in the
Yeah.
Sirens game. That's the only,
Yeah.
and that was Hannah's thing. But yes,
So
Yeah, but at least in definitely my family was not a thing, and it's just, I essentially learned what hockey was when I moved to the United States in 2017. So it's been about what 9 years, and I've been into hockey, but I didn't go to my first game until 2023, and that was a Blackhawks. I was supposed to, I think it was Oilers actually. Blackhawks Oilers game.
ooh,
And Blackhawks lost because Loki was sucked
naturally.
that
usual.
season naturally. And yeah, it's been, and then I started writing. I got inspired. I just really liked it. I got hooked because it's just such a fast paced game, so it gets you hooked. So
It's so good.
Yeah,
that's kind of why I like F1 too. People say it's just cars going around. I'm like, it's more
no,
than that.
I like when
I feel like
you
there's more
say that because
strategy.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but also like the unpredictability of like you never know
Mm-hmm.
what's gonna happen any race or like leading up like the qualifying and like what goes into it. You literally have no idea what could happen. So that
I
part
think
makes it a
it's
little like, mm?
also more fun because I feel like with NASCAR, like it's always like a different shaped oval, but like it's the same.
It's an
It's an
oval.
oval.
It's always an
You
oval.
have 4 turns. It's the same thing every time. Whereas with F1, like they're all different, and so like each race has a potential to have like different catastrophes happen. Um, and then I think like the
And
different types of tires and with like
mhm,
the what is no longer DRS, but like I just feel like
yeah,
there's
The
more to it.
strategies.
Also,
and
the gossip around it, like I feel like it's such like a petty sport that I think that that's also part of why I love it. And I
Yeah.
haven't watched Drive to Survive, but I feel like the like surrounding social like silly season is what really like hooked me. I think because I was like, oh, this is a fucking mess.
yeah,
So
no, F1 I would say is one of the most political games, sports, because the political game between the teams is like always. This season is gonna be crazy because it is silly season. It's gonna be. I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm like low-key stressed, but it's
don't
I think
know.
fine.
everybody is.
Going back to how the oh my god, I can't think. How the things are different. Every Grand Prix
Tracks.
The
is different.
tracks,
The
The track,
tracks.
yeah,
thank you. How the track is different. Also, it's like every car, it doesn't. They don't perform the same in every track.
Mm-hmm.
Like I remember last season, McLaren performed really well. Where was it? Was it in Italy? I don't remember. Like they were doing really well on straights, but then we went to another track. I remember what it was, and they did horrible because of all the corners. So like I
Mm-hmm.
just find it so interesting how the strategy changes with every single track. It's
yeah,
such a complex sport.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I
and
found it.
because it's complex, we figured we'd try to explain it in the best way possible. If you guys are looking for like the most comprehensive, easy to understand guide, maybe this is not it for you. But if you want like a really chaotic, fun thing, stick
This is it.
around. We're gonna tell you guys what F1 is. So, I think I'm just gonna sit back because you guys know more about this than I do, for the most part. So, Who wants to talk about like what F1 is, if anyone like doesn't know what it is at all?
I mean, F1 stands for Formula One, and it is, I would say it's like the pinnacle of motorsports. They are currently, this season in 2026, there are 11 teams. The last time that happened was 10 years ago in 2016. Typically there's 10 teams, but there's a new one, which actually is Cadillac, and they're officially the second American team on the grid, which I think is kind of exciting. The first time we've been has. But yeah, there's 22 drivers, there's two per team, and that's essentially what Formula One is. They go across the world to race. They have 24 races, and in between they have some sprints, which is kind of like a new thing, I would say. Don't even get me started. I have a lot to say about
I
that
hate
later
sprint
on.
races.
I do too. I don't see the point in them. But we'll
Yes.
talk about that later. That's like essentially what F1 is. Just some people say like it's just 22 millionaires going around the world going vroom vroom in circles. That's essentially it.
Yeah.
They're not fully
I will
wrong.
say you're probably thinking like, oh my god, what's the point? Like, what do you win? There's two different things you can win in F1, so like depending on where you finish a race, there's points for the top 10 from P1 to P10, and then each position, like if you win the race, is 25 points, and then it goes down, blah blah blah. And then every time you win, you and your drive, so like say Ken's and I are on a team, and like Ken's and I's points would be combined for our team's points in like what we call the constructors standings, and there is a thing called the World Constructors Championship that goes to the team specifically. So the two drivers for each team, your points are combined, and then the team wins that. Then the World Drivers Championship is when a specific, like just one driver wins that, and that's the driver on the grid with the most points. And that's the individual. So there's an individual award and there's a team award. Sometimes they are both, like the team and the driver can be from the same
Which was
thing.
last season, and
like
Brianna
they're
was
connected
having a time.
or not, but that's what they're racing for. They're not just doing it for fun.
It could be, but I mean, if you're just getting into F1, to be honest with you, the average fan cares more about the World Drivers' Championship than the constructors. But the reason the constructors is so important is because that's how F1, I mean, the sport, it's no secret, it's all about money. It is an expensive sport. And the constructors' championship, depending on the standings, it's how the money is just going to be divided. So I should have checked, but like McLaren last season, they finished with like 890 something points.
Yeah.
And they won that constructor by a landslide, and they got a bunch of money.
They won early too.
Yeah.
They did. They won, let me see, 833 points. So the total lead was by 370 because Mercedes got about about 4 something. So it was. I mean, McLaren had even with this double disqualification and everything, they still managed to. I mean,
McLaren. So something that I find so interesting is that a lot of these cars operate on the same engine.
Yeah, they share a lot of them.
There's like a few teams that all have like a Honda engine, a few teams that like
I think half the grid this year has a Mercedes.
Yeah.
Like almost half the grid is driving a Mercedes engine this season, which is crazy.
I think
there's a Ford now because Red Bull has Ford, Honda's with Aston Martin, and then Ferrari has a couple.
But it's so insane to me how these cars have the same engines. And also F1 doesn't really like innovation as much. Like when no, but like it's not an engineering competition in the way that like you can't innovate. It's an engineering competition in which it's like what can you do with the existing material, but when it comes to making new things, you can't. So everyone has like very similar cars with very similar engines, with very similar body type drivers, and for some reason the disparity is
the other
insane
thing that goes into that is, again, when you win the constructors or where you finish in the constructors determines how much money you get as a team to help build said car. So I'm so sorry if you're Alpine. Williams last season did really well, but Williams previously had not done very well. So where you finish is pretty much where if you're in the higher ups of that, you're like getting more money to make a better car, and if you're not, you're kind of struggling a little bit, even though that. So it isn't. I don't say unfair, but I was laughing because the way you said they don't like innovation is that every time a team has something new, everybody's like, "Hey, that's illegal," even
Yeah.
though it's not because they just
Well,
tried something and they're like, "I don't like that because it actually works and we don't have it," so they
Did
make it
you?
like
And
illegal.
The reason I bring it up that like it's like a joke right now is because did you see what
this is
happened
the
with
whole
Ferrari's rear
Mercedes.
wing during
Yes.
testing, where Toto
Oh
was like,
yes.
"No."
Yeah. But like all of that. So like anytime a team creates something to like again, they only have so much they can work with and if they have to meet whatever standard, a team will do something to be like, this is how we improve our car, and the other teams will be like, hey, wait, I don't have that and it's unfair that that team's better than me, so now that has to be illegal. And then they make it a whole thing. So
But
there's a
That
lot
would
of
be
that.
like, well, you have McDavid, so therefore you should only have 4 players on the ice at one time.
Yes.
Like, no, that's not how that works, actually.
Yeah. Like
yeah,
they
but it used to be worse before because now the FIA, I think it was in what 2024, they or 20, I can't remember the year. They put a cap. Before there was no cap, so
yeah.
like Mercedes, Red Bull, which were like the two competitive teams back then, before McLaren took over. Essentially, there was no cap, so like their resources were like
That's so
unlimited.
crazy.
And that was such a huge disadvantage for the other teams. So when they put the cap, and everyone was like, okay, we're like in a more even playing field. Still, it's all. I think also it all comes down about also the strategy. I mean, the strategy. I mean, it's what makes Formula One. You know, you have
Yeah.
engineers and strategies in every race, in practice, qualifying, during race, just analyzing a lot of data, and plans change. I think that's when the whole like spontaneity of F1 comes into play and what makes it so exciting. And with the new regulations, we will talk about it down the line. I don't want to overwhelm anyone who's listening yet. That's with the whole new regulations. It's going to be really interesting because there are a lot of changes, and I think it is going to affect a little bit the way that the strategy has been working this past decade.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's essentially, if you're anyone who's listening, if you're wanting to get into F1, this season is perfect because F1 is changing a lot. There are so many new regulations that we will talk about, and it's essentially a whole new sport. Is what the average, most fans have been saying. I don't know if it's for the better. That has yet to be decided. I am a little iffy, but it's gonna be interesting. It's anyone's out for themselves. I have
Yeah.
no idea who's going to. I don't know. It's
But I'm scared because of that. Like the fact that there's no clear
there's no clear like who's
so nobody's in
going
the
to have the
front.
lead.
Yeah, it's very nerve-wracking. I'm
Yeah.
not a fan of it yet, but we'll see how that goes.
The thing, so yes, anyone's game, right? Except it's not. Like, there's Ferrari, Mercedes, Red Bull, and McLaren are like the big 4 teams. They're pretty much going to be on the podium every single race unless something goes drastically wrong.
Yeah.
So as much as it's like, yeah, there's room for improvement, and like, and listen, there could be a team that just completely blows it out of the water, but based in history and like a little bit of testing, like it still looks like those are going to be like the top 4. Also, because again, like they win, they have the most money, they have the most experienced like engineers, and oh my god, what are they called? Like presidents and
Team principals.
thank you, team
Team principals and
principals.
directors,
Same
strategists. Yeah.
thing, yeah. They
My
have all the
brain's
same job
tired.
basically.
But like they just like they have so many different, like they have more assets, and it's we'll see where also they have like the best drivers, arguably.
Yeah,
Because well I think like I've
I
been
feel like there
saying
could
for
be
a
an argument
while
that
that I want like an F1 All-Star weekend where you put everyone in the same car
Oh.
and see what happens.
they would
I think
absolutely never do that.
no, I
No.
But it
know.
would be fun.
But it would be so interesting because I feel like even in the races where like Max like underqualifies but still pushes, and it's like he's driving a tractor sometimes.
Yeah.
And like
That is
Leclerc's a
honest.
good driver, but he's literally driving a track. Same with Hamilton right
Yeah.
now. It's like they both are in such like unfortunate positions with the team, and it's like, can we just go faster? It's a Ferrari. Isn't it supposed to go fast? Room? No, maybe. I don't know.
I do think, I respect everyone who's a Ferrari fan because, Ferrari is one of the original teams. I've been there since the beginning, so there's a lot of respect there. But a lot of just strategies calls, man. They get me every time. I don't understand what goes through these people's heads. But hey, I'm
I appreciate your condolences.
Yes. For anybody who's listening and like if you don't watch F1, you'll be like, what the heck is a strategy? Basically, it's what every driver goes out, like their engineer tells them like, hey, for X track, we're gonna start on this tire, you're gonna pit at approximately this time, go on that tire, whatever. Basically, it's just what they think is the best strategy to either win the race or improve on their position. However, some teams, and Ferrari is very well known for this, will pick a strategy that makes legitimately no sense and then wonder why they did not improve or win a race. And that is usually like if you're a fan of F1, you're like, oh my god, my team makes me suffer. It is usually the people calling the strategy that is going to make you suffer for it because the driver's doing the best that they can with like what they're being told. But that is just literally what the plan is, to be like, this is what we're starting with, what we're doing, where we're going. And sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. And you want it to be good for your driver because if it's bad, it ends up not going well. So that's that.
I want to also, going back a little bit to like championships and everything. What's interesting about F1 is, as we told you, there are 2 drivers in each team. And yes, they're teammates, but at the same time, they're rivals. And that's what makes it so interesting, right?
Yeah.
Because
you're competing together, but competing against each other at the same time.
Because they can only be one world champion. They can only be one. They can only be one winner. And it is interesting, and especially when the season, when we get late into the season and things are tense, and favoritism. Like, Lauren, I'm looking at you right now.
The term papaya rules literally
this is what
gives me like
say,
PTSD.
The point of, I know you have 2 drivers, and unless you're McLaren and don't believe in doing the correct thing, you are supposed to pick like halfway through the season if you're leading, or if you're not. Like even if you're in like, if you have a driver in like P2 or P3 of the standings, whatever.
Which, by the way, is usually like second place, third place, just
position,
in case anyone's.
Usually you would say, you are leading, you have our best chance to do this, we're going to prioritize you, and that means, aka, as I just said, you get the better strategy, whatever. The team has to make a call to basically prioritize and benefit you.
Correct.
Again, unless you're like McLaren and don't believe in that, and you think you can have 2 number 1 drivers at the same time, which usually does not work out in anyone's favor.
It worked out for you, Brie. So
you just continue, girl. Let me be happy about it.
I am letting you be happy about it. No, hold on. Oh my god, no, Brianna, I literally cried for you. I was happy, and like I like Lando. I have nothing against Lando. Oscar is.
I'm also the same person where like I've said to people, I'm like, I'll be a driver. I'm a fan of a driver, but like I would never like voluntarily root for McLaren if I didn't have somebody there.
Yes.
Like that's, I'm not a team fan. I'm
because being a McLaren fan is so painful because what I said was rules, like they basically have like this set of quote unquote secret rules that exist within McLaren about like which driver gets to go which and what gets to happen during certain races, and no one understands what's happening ever. And
I don't think they do.
The drivers do, or that Zach Brown does either.
What Zach claims is that the papaya rules are about equality. They don't see themselves as having a first seat and second seat. They have 2 first
That's like when people are like, I don't see color, and you're like,
that's literally not how it works, but whatever. Because, and there's a lot of debate that, that Zach prioritized Lando at some point when Oscar was in the lead for most of the season. And I have nothing to say to that. I don't like McLaren. I don't like Zach. I do not like that man. I think now that Christian Horner is out of the picture. Well, for now, he just wants to be Christian Horner so bad, and like it doesn't suit you. Stop.
Yeah.
That's actually so
That's all I'm gonna say.
real.
I'm
Well, so
sorry.
But
as a
little bit heated
Mercedes
there.
fan, then like when it was Russell and Hamilton, was there ever that like feeling that Russell was getting the backseat to Hamilton, even though they're like he was kind of outperforming him?
He still is, if we're being honest.
Well, yes,
You know,
but
for Mercedes, Kimi is the future. Mercedes definitely did a 180, and they want to, you know, because Toto and Horner, they were like literally like the heated rivalry of like F1. I can't. I'll be honest with you.
that's so correct.
no, the amount of like bro-sadies and like hated rivalry things
Yeah,
I've seen crossover
It's crazy.
is crazy.
and for them to then be do like a 180 and essentially like Kimi is like what Max was when he started with Red Bull. You know, he's the future, they're gonna build a car around him, and George is kind of like on the side, which, you know, as a fan of George, it does suck a little bit because I think George has the potential of being a world champion. But yeah, it is injustice. But back then, I didn't like George very much, so I didn't care very much. But now, it's a little bit different. I do care, and I mean, I don't know how this season is gonna go. I think he has a chance. I know he ended up what last year, 4th in the World Championship.
I think.
Yeah, he in the 4th. Yeah, because it was
because it was
Max, Oscar, and then
Yeah.
George. So a lot of people sleep on George, and I think he's going to be a contender. I really believe it. Call me delusional. It's fine.
No, I'll let you have it.
Yeah,
Everybody in
have
the
it.
sport is
Take it.
delusional. I was gonna say too. I said this
Again, I'm a
last
Ferrari
season.
fan. I am the most delusional one here. Like it's
I was like convinced because I was, and if they're good this season, I think it'll be more of a problem. But I was like, what is Ferrari gonna do? Who are they gonna prioritize when it comes to Charles and Lewis? Charles is your golden boy who like should win one with you, but then you have Lewis who's like won 7. Are you gonna give him his 8th in what could be his
no.
last
I mean
hurrah?
this
I
in
don't
the
think
nicest
so.
way
So-
possible. No. Leclerc
I
is
agree.
literally supposed to be like
I
the
know.
Verstappen or the Antonelli of Ferrari.
Yeah.
And
I just think it'll be so interesting to see how they handle that because I know based on what we know about them. I'm nervous.
also the whole like the whole like Italy has 2 religions, the Catholic
Yes,
Church and then
and the
Ferrari. The like Forza Ferrari people that are like diehard Italians, like Monaco people who literally are like that is the prince of Monegasque, like
Yeah.
would literally riot if Ferrari outwardly said we are prioritizing Hamilton.
Also, I just think if I was Charles, I would just be like,
I would leave.
see, I'm done. Like, this is it.
I think,
No.
you know, my theory of how this year's gonna go is I think Hamilton is halfway out, to be honest with you. I think he has lost his edge. I know people are like, well, he's a 7-time. Well, technically, some people like to say 8. I'm not even gonna get into that. I get very upset about that. Not true. 7,
Anybody's
not 8
yet. But that's crazy.
To me, he's halfway out. I think Ferrari, again, they're taking the strategy that, you know, Red Bull and Mercedes are doing. They want to focus on young drivers. I think we're going to see Oli Berman in a Ferrari seat sooner than we think.
I'm
I would
okay
absolutely
with that.
take that.
I'm excited. I like Oli Berman is like, I would say he was my favorite rookie last season.
Yeah.
I have a soft spot for him. Nobody understands why, but it's okay. I have my reasons.
Yeah.
So I see Hamilton. I don't see him another season, I don't think. Especially if he doesn't perform.
Do you think he should
have?
I see a lot that he should have retired more gracefully
with Mercedes.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Because the only way that I see Hamilton having a comeback is if he's in a McLaren again.
By the way, we keep forgetting, you know, for everyone who's listening, Lewis Hamilton, I would say he's like one of the best drivers of all time. I would say he was a smart driver. He has won 7 championships. 6 of them was with Mercedes, and one of them was with McLaren. He used to be a great driver. we're being used to. I don't think he is the same as he used to be, and like that's fine. He has 7 world championships. He did amazing. He already paved the way for many more drivers to come. And then he shocked everyone in 2024 that he was gonna leave Mercedes for Ferrari, which literally no one saw coming. That broke the world, honestly. And they didn't have a great season because again, Ferrari has a lot of faults, unfortunately, and I don't think they have what it takes to handle a driver of such caliber. That's my opinion. I'm sorry.
You're not wrong.
That's what we're talking about. And it pains me to say that because I think, going back to Leclerc, he's a wonderful driver. When the stars align and the car is actually working and the strategies are actually strategizing correctly, which is rare.
Oh no, he can push that thing.
He can. He really can. He's a great defensive driver.
Yeah.
That race he had, who was it with Lando? I don't remember the track. It was one of the best races I think I saw last season. I can't remember.
I know what you're talking about too, and I can't remember what it was.
I can see the incident too, and I can't remember what. But while we're on what strategy is, we should talk about how we get the strategy. And so the weekend is 3 days, and so you have free practice 1, 2, and then
on Friday.
And then you have qualifications, which is 3 rounds, and then you have the race. If there's a sprint weekend, you have a separate qualification for the sprint, and you also have the sprint race. But
I would like to remove the sprint races.
Why?
I can't stand them.
Why?
For me, it's because it's a waste of strategy and it's a waste of resources.
It's a waste of time.
When the drivers means nothing. They drive. I mean, I guess it can make or break when the
points
when the points are too close, between Max and Lando last season.
It's
it was so
the
close,
FIA's way of being we think this sport is too boring, so we're gonna make it more interesting by doing this.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't need that. I would rather watch an extra practice and have a regular qualifying and be done with it.
I very rarely watch the sprints, so I don't have
horrible.
the same hatred.
Also, they're 20 laps. They're not even 20 laps.
Yeah, they're short.
They're short.
So whatever the full length of laps is usually half, depending on the track. But to me, it's just a waste of strategy, energy. The drivers should be concentrating on the main thing, which is the race. That does matter because if you're first place, you get 25 points. That matters. When
you lose
that can, and you just I don't know. For example, last season, there was a sprint in Texas, and Oscar
hated that one. Wait, I know exactly what you're talking about.
That race. So the car got destroyed over a sprint, so they had to scramble. The mechanics had to work overnight to get the car ready for qualifying for the main race.
That from my memory. I remember I put it on downstairs. My parents were like, I was like, do you want to watch it? And then first lap, I was like, never mind, turning it off. We're gonna
I have picked a life of misery in this sport. It's great.
Yeah, the sprints are I also think, again, the main focus should be the races, and they lose so much time of trying to figure out what's going to work when you only have one practice and then qualifying, which is you want to have things figured out by the time you're at qualifying.
Also for 3 points, seriously.
Exactly. It's an opinion.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
My opinion.
Yeah.
When we talk about it's a waste of strategy and stuff, they only have a certain amount of tires
a weekend
for the whole weekend. Mm-hmm. And so when you add the sprint into it, it's you're using, because obviously if you're in a race, you're pushing the tires a little bit further than you would in a qualification or a free practice. And so I think that definitely plays into why it's kind of annoying, I guess, from a strategy perspective.
And the most seasoned drivers, when they get asked about sprint racers, they all hate it. And they say the same thing. I mean, no one wants it. The drivers don't want it. The average fan doesn't want it. It's just FIA also trying to get more money. I said what I said, and I stand on 10,000.
You are correct.
You're right.
Also,
Because
I feel
again,
like
the sport's all about money. So
yes.
Yes.
To clear it up again for anybody, I feel like I'm speaking and I don't know what you guys might know of this, but free
yeah, same.
practice, there are 3 of them. That basically just means they have an hour to drive around the track freely.
Get
Pretty
things done.
much, they just kind of put in laps to figure out, like, again, they drive these things on the simulator, sorry, the racing simulator. But like those are the times for them to like legitimately be in the car, test out tires, get times in to see just how they're feeling, and then
Well, also,
qualifying.
the
Go ahead.
weather, like the heat can affect the
Yeah,
tires
it's
and the
wherever you
Yeah.
degradation,
are.
humidity.
Yeah, it's just those are used to literally just get used to where you're racing, and
Yeah.
then like the team will adjust. That's again kind of setting your strategy for the race, and then qualifying is again an hour session, but there are I think they're changing the times this year. Yeah, and if you know, I think it's 12 minutes now a session.
Yes, and they're going to eliminate
Yeah, 6
more
drivers.
drivers.
Yeah, so
Mhm.
basically there's which they do it backwards too. They do it Q1, Q2, Q3. Every driver starts in Q1. If you don't hit the time to be in the top 16 now, if you're in those
Mhm.
bottom 6, you're eliminated. Those are your positions in the grid. You make it to Q2, same thing. If you're not in the top 10, you're eliminated. And in the top 10, kind of do a shootout of whoever puts the fastest lap in, and they set the
Yeah.
1 through 10 on the grid, and then those are your positions for the race on Sunday. So that's
So
when
the
we're
thing
like,
Q1 is always
about
so stressful. I think
it
Q1 is
is
more stressful
because
than the race sometimes.
yes.
it is because depending also on the track, the position matters. For
Yeah.
example, if you're
Monaco.
racing in Monaco, which by
Yeah.
the way, I'm sure even people that don't haven't seen F1 have heard
You're
about
aware.
Monaco.
Yeah.
That's like the pinnacle of F1. That's what F1 represents. It's one of the most expensive, races to go to because it's just so, people are very excited for it. But
It's also
for
one of
example,
for all of our sorry, I'm so for all of our hockey fans when we talk about the triple gold club, this is winning the Monaco Grand Prix is part of F1's or motorsports triple crown. You have to win the
it's an
Indy
honor.
500
Yeah.
and the Le Mans 24. So if you win all 3 of them, you're in the. It's insanely hard, difficult because Monaco's not also a very easy one to win. But if you win
No.
all 3 of those, that's like the equivalent of
You also don't have a lot of drivers, at least at this stage,
that do
like
a
with
lot of
modern motorsports, that move
yeah
between like that. Like
Correct.
there's an
side quest
IndyCar
after you're done
driver.
in F1.
Yeah, there's an Indy driver who's now going to be an F2,
Correct. Don't have no super license points. That's a whole other thing.
which like feels like a downgrade for him.
Yeah, but again, like you have to have
But
the
if he wants to get into F1,
you have to have the
you don't
points
have
and the
to do
license
it.
to get
Yeah,
into
you have
F1
to.
to be it's a whole
But
thing.
going back to Monaco, and like strategy again, it all comes down to strategy. That's why you guys keep hearing that word. So take a shot every time you hear that.
No, my God, they'd be in the hospital. People would be dead by
Well,
now.
We can't be responsible for that. We
I
cannot be
know.
responsible
Take
for
a sip
that.
of water,
Take it back.
maybe.
Take it back.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Hydrate yourself.
Monaco is because it's also what we call like a street race. So like
Yeah.
they don't have an actual track; like they just
Yeah.
build it essentially. And the streets in Monaco are very narrow. So if you're not in P1,
You're not winning.
the chances of you winning, unless you're Max Verstappen,
Yeah.
But that's
it's
why
very tough.
we have smaller cars this year.
Yes.
And the
Yeah.
I'm
idea is
interested
that
to know how that's gonna go.
it'll help with overtaking, especially in
Yeah.
places like Monaco, and I'm really excited to see if it actually does.
Yeah, I'm
Because like
excited
I love
too.
Monaco. I think just because it's like a historic race, I love like the yacht vibes, and I think it's like a manifestation thing where I'm like, maybe the more Monaco F1 Grand Prix I watch, the more likely I'll be able to go to a Monaco
So
F1
real.
Grand Prix on a yacht
Yeah.
with a bunch of caviar and a bunch of hot rich men. Like maybe that's the dream. But like it's really fun to watch
It is.
qualifying in Monaco. It's really
Yeah.
painful to watch the race sometimes because it's so
They pretty much don't ever change.
Yeah.
yeah.
Because
And
even when you pit, you come back out and you're in the same spot.
Yeah.
It
Oh, we
can
didn't even
be
talk
it can
about
get
that
quite
yet.
boring.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about that now that we're talking about Monaco.
Go for it.
One of the most exciting things also about F1 is the pit stop. Believe it or not, I know you're gonna be like, what? hear me out.
It's Guido
Before
from
you judge
Cars.
me.
Yes.
Hear me out. So, like we said, well, the drivers are driving. They're driving over 200 miles per hour. You have engineers and strategists analyzing the data that includes weather, tire wear, lap times, fuel usage, traffic, which matters a lot, especially in qualifying too. And they have to get all that information and decide when they're gonna pit and which tires they're gonna switch to. With F1, you have to use at least 2 different compounds of tires in a dry race. So the timing also is everything, and also the type of tire that you use. And Ferrari, I'm looking at you because sometimes I don't know why they choose certain tires. We're not gonna talk about that.
I love when
But
a race starts and you see like medium,
All of them, yeah.
yeah,
soft,
soft,
medium, and then the other Ferrari has on a hard, and it's like, what?
yeah, because you have to, like, it is required to use 2 different type of tires. That's when the timing when to pit matters, because if you pit too early, your tires out at the end. If you pit too late, your tires are already worn out, and you have some drivers who have new tires with fresh tires. They're just gonna fly by you because your tires are dead. And when your tires are dead, you lose grip, and the cars, they're very sensitive cars, and when they lock, it's over for everybody. And it's just,
With the tire degradation thing, also if you pit too early and you end up being like, we're only going to do a 1 pit strategy or like a 1-stop strategy, right? You end up with the George Russell of it all, where you go too long and your tires are too degraded and your car is underweight. Because that's another thing, is you have to like weigh your car.
yes.
Again, like this is like one of like the regulations to keep everything
Can't be
fair.
overweight or
Mhm.
underweight.
And so if
Yep.
you drive too much and your tires degrade too much and you come back and you're overweight, you get like, was that Spa two seasons ago?
Yeah.
Where he got completely disqualified because his car was underweight because his tire. He
it
went
was
like
2 seasons ago because Lewis got the win, so it had to have been 2 seasons ago.
he went like what 50,
It was a
60,
long time.
60 something laps with
It was-
one set of
yeah.
tires. And everyone was like, "Oh my god, that was insane!" And then 5 seconds later, we're like, "Oh."
Also,
Yeah.
again, I'm referring to Cars, like the movie, because
Yes,
it's legitimately
It's
like there's the basic of like when Lightning
simple.
doesn't take a pit stop and he has no tires left. That's what basically happens to them. But also, I love to preface this because I went through. This was like the trend. Well, on top of everything else that McLaren wasn't doing right last season, the timing, aka how long your pit stops are,
oh my god, yeah.
Matters.
can ruin a day for you. So depending on like the driver again has to pull in, and then they have a whole crew that comes in, lifts the car up, takes the tires off, puts tires back on. You want your pit stop to be
like
ideally
2 seconds, by the way.
Yeah, you want it to
So
be ideally like 2.5 seconds or less.
Yeah.
If it's 3 or over, you're cooked. Like you're done because it ends up delaying it. So it might seem like all roses and fun till like your pit stop team has a bad pit stop and then your driver's behind. So
correct, because
that's another part.
Pit stop usually take around 2 to 3 seconds. The sweet spot is like 2.5 seconds. McLaren last season, they had the best pit stop as a dating. It was what, 1.9? I don't remember.
Yeah, and
I
like
think so.
China, and then after that, it was just
but
they're
we
like
were all like,
one good
point,
pit stop.
yeah, 6-second pit stops were fine. That's totally cool.
So it should take ideally 2 to 3 seconds, but then when you take, entering and exiting the pit lane can be 18 to 25 seconds depending on the track. And also, like these drivers, they cannot just go, they have to be at a certain limit. If they go over, they get a penalty. Poor Carlos, you remember that? Yeah. Carlos at Williams, he got, I don't know how many penalties. It was horrible.
That was a bad one too.
So that's when we say also timing and when to pit matters, because if you undercut, means you pit earlier to gain some time, some fresh tires, and you jump on the car ahead, and then you have overcut, which is staying out longer while others pits, hoping to clear the track and gives you a little bit of faster laps because you don't have like the dirty air and all that.
You also don't want to be in the pit stop when everyone else is doing it, because then you have traffic coming out.
Yeah. Also, sometimes some teams build strategies on like, because there could be a safety car at any moment. And if you pit at the right time, like it can work out in your
Please,
favor or against you.
something else I learned: if there is a freaking safety car, I
Pit.
need those tires to be like taken off the car. Like
That was, I got
the
to
amount of
say,
trauma
that was one of the worst. I don't
immediately.
typically like scream at for F1 like I do sometimes. I was livid that race when
I
they
remember sitting there
McLaren
and
just
was like,
didn't pit during a
I was like,
safety car.
why are they not going
I
in?
will never
Everybody else going in. Why are they not going?
understand it.
So yeah, the safety car is basically a free pit stop,
Yeah.
which
So
means like there's no penalty, like there's no time penalty because all the cars are going
guys,
slower because something happened. So take the pit stop
guys,
because it's
explain what a
slow.
safety car
free.
is.
Oh yeah, so a
Oh,
safety car.
right. Sorry. We
So
suck.
there are variations of like flags to tell you what's like good on track. So obviously, like when the lights go out, green flag, you're fine, you're good. Yellow flag is typically when there's like debris on the track or sometimes an animal, whatever it might be. The yellow flag goes up, and then that's kind of just like a caution thing. Just kind of like be aware of X sector, whatever, that's where it is. And then when we have a safety car, which there's also variations of that, the virtual safety car is when there is not actual physical car that comes out.
Right.
The driver in P1 or leading the race kind of just slows the whole pack down. A real safety car is there's a legitimate car that comes out of the pit lane, gets to the front of the race, and then slows all of the cars down. That usually happens when there is a big crash or multiple DNF, a car is stuck somewhere, whatever. And that just slows everybody down. And that is when you can take a pit stop because you can't like overtake the safety car. So no matter how many laps the safety car lasts for, you're just going around slower until whatever the obstacle is on track is cleared and it's safe again.
And you
And
have
then
the drivers have to slow down. If they don't,
yes,
they
otherwise you get a
have like
penalty.
they usually have marshals waving the flags, or they have like some like screens that has like the yellow color that drivers
The
like have to
giant
be aware of.
SC safety car.
If they don't slow down, they will get a penalty.
Yeah.
So it is very important for everyone's safety, because usually when there's like a car, that usually means that there are marshals on the track trying to clear the
Yeah.
debris or trying to move the car, etc. Because safety first is very important. But
Yeah.
you need to, most teams do pit, even if it's too early, because it's a free pit. Like, take it, if you have to do the two-step strategy, and because you got that safety car, most teams take it, unless you're McLaren and you think you're better than everyone else and then it bites you in the butt.
Yeah, I was
Anyways,
gonna say, you also get a lot of safety cars in wet races. So like when it's raining,
yes.
Yeah.
Again, they don't typically race when it's like super crazy raining, but they will race when it's raining. I know from sitting outside in 5 hours of rain last year at the Australian Grand Prix, which was worth it. It was fine. But so if you have a wet tire or a slick tire on and you have a safety car and say the track is drying up because the weather's changing, that's also again the perfect time to take the pit stop and then get your non-slick, like your regular tires on, get the wets off, whatever it might be, so you're more poised to like get ahead of people who did not make that tire change. But usually you see it on tracks. There are more tracks that have it, like you get more safety cars than others. But the weather does play a very large role in how many safety cars you might get, because it is, as you can imagine, incredibly hard to drive a car at 200 miles per hour on track when it's pouring rain. So,
And they don't slow down.
Can't see.
It's
yeah. So that's, but yeah, to take the free
and
pit stop, please.
take it. And since we're talking about pit stop, we can talk a little bit about tires. It's very easy, with a dry race. Again, like I said, you have to use two different compounds that is required. But then you have your soft tires, which they are really fast, but they wear out quickly. I think they're lifespan, depending on it does depend on the track, but it can be like, maybe you can stretch it to like 29 laps, unless you're like Max Verstappen and do like 30s, because it's crazy like that. You have your mediums, where they're more balanced. It's like a 50-50. They don't wear out as quickly, but you can still go kind of fast. And then you have the hards, which are the slowest, but they also last the longest.
Yeah.
The strategy changes in every track, because not every track is the same. Like in, what do you call it? Street races, they wear up a little bit quicker than like your regular tracks.
Yeah.
Also, it's so
That's
fun if you are new. Every tire has a different color. So like softs
color.
are red, mediums are yellow, hards are white, and then like the intermediates are green and wets are blue. So
Yeah.
like if you don't know, if they sometimes like on the graphic they'll say like C3 or whatever for the compound, like whatever color is on the car, or the graphic, that's the kind of
Yeah.
tire it is. So it makes it easy to differentiate between what's actually being used.
Yeah.
Which is so helpful
Yeah.
because when you watch and I'm like, wow, it's so great. I know what's been put on, but yeah, there's a little color coding so you know what tire is which.
And at the beginning of literally as they're about to like start the race, usually the commenters like they put like in the screen like the type of tires
Yes.
and they explain what it is, which I think is so fun. Because you have new people always watching. So but it's really easy. You'll get you like one or two races and then you'll be able to recognize it like instantly. And then you get to curse internally when Ferrari chooses
Or
whatever
externally.
tire for no reason.
Yeah.
But that is essentially pit 7 strategy in a nutshell. That's all you need to know, really, and you'll get to know more as you keep watching races, and you get to question your sanity while you're at it, which is fun.
So real.
I will say 2 things I think we missed that I think are or 3 things, but 2 kind of really important things. The way that the race starts, so everyone's in the grid and they're all standing there, and it's called lights out and away we go for a reason, and it's because there's a light pattern that goes blank, 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 and then once they all go and it's green, that's when you go. There was a scandal a while ago about people putting like automatic chips in their cars to like go automatically when the lights would go on. So now they're like randomized, and if you false start, that's a penalty.
Yeah.
If you're like not correctly in your grid space, that can be a penalty. Penalties can also be served like either when you go for a pit stop, you can either like there's no hands on your car for like 5 to 10 seconds, or the penalty gets added at like the end of the race. Same thing, penalties can also come from if like the cars have engines, right? And so if you replace your engine too many times or whatever, like you also get penalties for that.
I would say the grid penalties are different. Those are like the positional ones, and those can carry over races.
Yes.
So if you don't like, if you get one in one race, the next race you race in, say you qualified P10, you whatever the penalty is, you would have to drop to serve whatever the grid penalty is. Those are like
I think it's like a 10 grid penalty.
Yeah, I think there's
It can be like
usually it's a big one.
You can also get
It
points
is.
on your license.
Yeah.
Like you do in real life, and then a
Well, your
certain amount
real
of
penalty points.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they do have, this is like the real, like they have to have an actual license to drive an F1 car, which sounds so silly.
It is really expensive too. For example, and it also depends on the driver. So, for example, there was a Lando Norris. He's a McLaren driver. He won the championship last season. He's super licensed. I think it was like $1 million.
I learned that the more you win, the more you have to pay for your license. And I was like, that is, because I think it's the same graphic where they were like, here's the driver standings and what they had to pay. And I was like, what? So it's wild.
And since we're talking about penalties, honestly, penalties is something that I guess you learn as you go. Because there's so many penalties, and sometimes some people only get a warning, others just get a big penalty, and which is like very unfair sometimes. But who decides the penalties? I guess that's the one point that we can touch on. Would be the FIA. So while the race is happening, you have this. What do they call them? I forgot the word.
Stewards.
Stewards.
Yeah, because they always choose stewards after.
They have the stewards, and when something happens in a race and it gets reported, you usually see like when you're watching on TV, it says like on top like incident between car whatever number and this one noted under investigation, and then it tells you also what the outcome is when they're done with their investigation. Penalties
another reason to
so
rage.
I'm not gonna get into that, but it is another reason to rage for sure.
I was gonna say, like, for anybody hockey who's watching this, just think goaltender interference, but like every time there's a penalty, because literally two drivers can do the same thing and one will get a penalty and one might not. So you
Yeah.
literally never have any idea how any of it's going to go.
Yep.
So even though you think, you're like, oh, a driver should get that penalty, they might not. And even if you think they shouldn't, they probably will.
Yeah.
So I've learned that very quickly, that like just because there's a precedence, it almost never matches what you have known.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's just goaltender interference decisions for every single F1 penalty, because it's always a very back and forth, never makes any sense.
It never
So
makes sense. And
yeah.
The other thing I was gonna say that is important is there's like green flag, yellow flag, black and white flag at the end of it, and
Yeah.
then there's a red
Oh, I
flag
forgot the
which
checker flag.
stops the race.
Yes.
So if there's like a really, really, really bad accident, or if there's like some kind of weather event where they think that it's because again they're driving 200 miles an hour, like at a certain
Yeah.
point it's like, hey, you're all gonna die if we keep going actually. So sometimes they'll red flag the race, and sometimes that means, hey, we're gonna stop for a little while, and sometimes it means, hey, the race is actually just gonna end now.
Yeah.
And it's also like a case by case basis. I just thought it was important. And then we should talk about the manual override stuff,
Yes.
because I feel like that's like the only other like really like new thing except for the
Yeah.
cars. But
Yeah, I mean, this season a lot of regulations changed, but the biggest thing it is the uh well, now it was supposed to be, so before it was called drag reduction system, or short for DRS. At one point they changed it to manual override mom, aka mom, and then
The
they
mom was
changed
so
it.
funny.
I know they changed it to overtake mode. So now instead of hearing the engineer tell a driver you have DRS, you can overtake.
Also, if you're
That's
new
it.
here and if a man asks you the equivalent of name 5 players, it's always what's DRS. You can say DRS doesn't exist anymore, because it doesn't. And they actually don't know what's going on. So, fun fact for you, if it
Yeah,
happens.
Jensen, the first
perfect.
person to press the DRS button. It's a very long middle name. What?
I just totally missed. I don't know.
Oh, I was making a joke about Jensen Button's name
Yeah, I
because it's
got
called a
that.
DRS button. Okay.
Yes, it just processed very late in my brain, and I was like, "What did she just say?" All good, all good.
I
Yeah.
saw one the other day that said Jensen the very first to press the DRS and Kimmy the very last to press the DRS button. Wow, that's a really long middle name. And I was like, oh, we're just gonna make it worse and worse, actually.
I actually think it was Lance Stroll who pressed DRS for the last time.
It might.
Was it?
I think it was just
I
like a
thought it was
meme. I don't know who
Kimmy.
it was.
I don't remember. I remember reading somewhere it was Lance, but I don't know.
No, we'll give it to Kimmy. Kimmy can have it.
I guess
Did someone
we can
just start
talk
a Marvel
about.
movie in your house?
My boyfriend is playing Marvel Rivals.
I saw the sky.
It was a reflection.
I was like, oh, what movie are you watching?
That's so funny.
I've never seen a Marvel movie. I don't like superhero movies.
What?
Oh my god, no places.
Really?
Yeah, my
Not a
husband has been trying
dedicated
to
one.
convince me for I don't know how many years, but
That's crazy.
Oh my god.
maybe one day.
You should
Not
watch
this year.
WandaVision, like the show.
I have not watched that myself, so.
Because I think
Mm.
okay. Not to get on my soapbox real quick, but even if you don't like Marvel, it's a really good show. Like if you like
Removed
creative,
from.
yeah, like it's very creative. It's a very good structure. I think like you as an author, Yin, would really appreciate like the way that like the storyline is told. Like I think that would be. It's a good like case study show. I think.
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
maybe an option. Sorry, I completely derailed.
That was so funny though. You were like,
Yeah,
wait.
I'm sorry.
So when can you overtake? That's part of the question.
Sorry. So, with overtake, you can. Well, I don't know how it's gonna work now. I mean, essentially the same thing, but if you're less than like a mile away from them, you can like press a button. Essentially, it's kind of like pushes force, and then they can like overtake. That's essentially what you can do it.
Yeah, it
But,
usually happens on the straights.
straights,
Like when
yes,
the
on
cars are
straights.
going like this together, and you're close enough. It's like a little boost. Like if you like Mario Kart,
Yes.
it's like you press the button, you're like, I can go fast, and then you just go like you
Yeah.
usually just pass the car in front of you. But you don't use it around corners. Like it only happens on straights,
No.
and you have to be within
Straights.
that range
Within
of the
that
car
distance.
in front of you.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Yeah.
you can't use it.
Yeah. But what's interesting though is because, and this goes hand in hand with the new regulations, because right now it's gonna be the battery matters. And with preseason testing, which by the way, preseason testing is before the season starts, they like go out on track and they test the cars. That was a hot mess. Like there
It
was
was
a
really bad.
video
Yeah.
of like I think it was Walter Bottas, which he's a Cadillac driver. That's the newest team on the grid this season.
I'm so happy
He
he's
was on the
back.
straight. I am too. I think he's
Yeah.
a great driver. I don't know. I mean, he's been out of a car for how long now?
I like
2 years,
I just like
Season?
the
3 years?
vibe he
Just one.
brings. And yeah,
Yeah,
just one season.
it's just like
Yeah,
yeah,
just one. Both of them have just been
but
one.
yeah, but with the battery, I saw the video and like the battery just like died in the middle of the straight, which that is not good if you're trying to overtake. Let me tell you.
Did
So it's
you
gonna be
see?
interesting.
I saw the video. I saw several where they so also in preseason testing they do it like half the grid in the morning, half the grid at night. So it's like one driver per team. And I saw the standing start, like when they're on the grid with the lights going out, and the video I saw like 6 cars didn't even move.
Yeah,
And I was like, "Oh, that's really good." Have cars not moving when the lights go out. I was like,
it's
it'll be a time. It'll be quite interesting to see how that goes, but yeah.
and the reason, there's been so many changes is because Formula One is trying to move toward to be more sustainable.
Mhm.
Because they travel so much and, environment, we want to save the world. So the engine is like 50%, it's like 50-50 now. So like now they're like 50% fuel and then 50% electric. Which I'm not a fan of personally. There's a Formula E for a reason, which
Yes.
Formula E is like with fully electric cars. I don't know how it's gonna go, but that's
It'll be
like
We'll see.
the biggest
interesting. It'll
change,
be
I guess.
interesting.
I like the intention, but I also like there's also studies being done that say that like electric cars actually are not better for the environment. So like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Also, I just feel like changing everything for once, like I feel like you could have gradually did like 2 things one season and
Yeah.
like, lead up to being like, here's the brand new engine, but everything else in the car you've kind of figured out
Yeah.
already. I
It's
I
just
also don't know how any of that would have worked with the previous cars, if that's even possible.
I don't
Don't have
know.
that knowledge in my brain.
It's gonna be
But
a mess.
yeah,
But
changing everything
there's
for
just a
like
lot of yeah,
it's a
a lot of
time.
changes.
It's a
The
time.
biggest one's definitely the engine, and also the cars because they are smaller and more narrow. The tires are also more narrow. Also the cars have less downforce, meaning it's gonna be easier to like I guess cut in between corners, which should make the races more exciting. But because of that, the cars are going to be a little bit harder to handle and the grip is going to be less. So, with preseason testing, which by the way, honestly, when you're coming into F1, preseason, honestly, the data, they don't give us a lot of data. It's
Yeah.
mostly what we see with our eyes. It's not, they don't give us data. We just have to go with what we see.
They keep a lot of it
And
under wraps
they
for
do.
reasons.
And
Well, like I mean,
yeah,
understandably so.
Yeah.
yeah,
They don't
of
want you to know too
course.
much.
But one of the main complaints, I guess, that the most experienced drivers were having is how little grip the car has now. And they have very little time to figure. I don't know if they have figured it out yet. I guess we'll find out this week. It's race week,
Yay.
but that's like
Yay.
one of the biggest thing. Also, like the front and rear wing elements have been changed, and they're also smaller. And also the floor is now flat, which will gives more flexibility, meaning it gives more what do you call it? Improve the suspension and drivability, and it's supposed to reduce porpoising, which is kind of like there was one season that porpoising was really bad. It's kind of when you see the cars just jumping and you see the drivers just like shaking, and that's like very unsafe for them. It is very unsafe. So that should reduce that, hopefully. that's essentially all the new regulations in a nutshell.
In case you guys are wondering, they're like basically laying down, by the way, when they
Yeah.
drive these cars. They're not like sitting like a regular car. In case anyone thought they were. Which is also why
And
like
like they mold those seats to like their
Yeah.
specific bodies. Like
Yeah.
it's that tight in there. It's crazy.
Yeah.
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 I'm
They've
really excited
molded.
to see the specialty helmets this year.
Oh yeah.
That's like one of my favorite
Those are
parts
my
about
favorite
F1.
parts.
I'm
In
Yeah,
case you
excited
guys
for
don't
yeah.
that.
know, they have like like specialty jerseys for like hockey. Like they have like each driver can make, or like goalie helmets kind of.
Yeah.
But they can change them like
So
per
they have
race.
like a regular one they wear all season, and then like drivers usually do it for like their home race, like the race it's like in
Yeah.
their home country, or if it's like honoring somebody, or if it's a special weekend for the team, whatever it might be.
Or like
Um,
Bulgaria, a lot of them will
yeah,
do.
like they'll do a different version, like a different helmet, and then they have like the regular one, and that's also how you can identify them in the car, because like when you see them going
Yeah.
by, you're like, oh, that's X person because of the color of their helmet, because they're
Yeah.
going very fast, and you can't really see those numbers in the cars when they're
You can't.
going very fast. But yeah, especially helmets are always they're one of my favorite parts. And then yeah, they get to design them themselves.
Lando's helmet last season was really cool. The one he wore on, was it Las Vegas? I don't remember when he wore it, but
Oscars
I
in
think it
Vegas
was.
was really cool.
Yeah, but I
His
really
was
like Lando's, and
sick.
I like Lewis too. It was like so Vegas, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
that's a helmet, that's cool. But with drivers, you have some experienced drivers. Last season we had a lot of rookies. We had what?
We only have one this
Alvin
year.
Kimmy. There's only one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
only
Alvin.
one.
What's his last name? Alvin something. He's in
Arvid
Racing Bull,
Islam.
which is which Racing Bull, I would say, it's kind of like a junior team of Red Bulls. Red Bull is
Yeah.
such a big thing in Formula One and like motorsport overall. They have like two teams on the grid, and before, when there was a team principal, his name was Christian Horner. He loved to swap drivers around. He would, Red Bull has very little patience for drivers to underperform.
Yeah, this
So
is why
they
if you hear
love to switch
anything
around.
said that the second Red Bull seat is cursed,
It is.
since Max has
That's
been
why.
there. It is absolutely true, and I'm really hoping Isaac breaks that this season, because I will be very upset if he doesn't. But yeah, usually it's like Max does amazing. Whoever's in that second Red Bull seat does not do well, whether that is they get switched out mid-season, just have a bad season, whatever it is.
Correct.
And they're notorious for that. So
yeah.
Yeah.
And that is because,
good.
Max has brought a lot of wins for the team. I mean, just last season, they what place were they in the standings? I don't remember.
In the first half?
No, how did the season end? I think they were third, right?
They were third, I think.
Yeah,
it was
and
McLaren, Mercedes, Red Bull.
Yeah, so they ended up the season with 451 points, and out of those points, 421 points were scored by Max Verstappen. So when I tell you that man is a beast, I'm not
but now imagine if they developed their second driver and how well they would do that.
Yeah. I think, there was an interview that Alex Albon did, which he used to be a Red Bull driver, and now he drives for Williams. He says, the car is what it is. The problem is that the deeper we get into the season, they start making tweaks and things for Max, because Max is a very aggressive driver. He has a very unique style of driving, and it goes to a point where like the second driver can't keep up with the changes that have been made with the car, and that's when they start to underperform. And again, Red Bull, before, when it was Christian Horner and all of that, they have very little patience for people who underperform, and he just loved to switch drivers around. He since then got let go, and there's a new team principal.
Too late, but he's gone.
Yeah, he's gone.
Sorry, I loved Bree's little gesture.
There are rumors that he's coming back. He was offered a position with Aston Martin. I don't know how true those rumors are.
They're already cursed, so
he's definitely he was one of the big personalities in F1. He worked with Red Bull for many years, more than 20 years. He did a lot for the team, but I think some stuff just got a little bit in his head. He also got dismissed due to some issues that he had nothing to do with racing. But regardless, Red Bull Max he's a household name. He's a four-time world champion, and like I said, last season he scored 421 points out of the 451, so that tells you a lot.
Yeah. Also,
Sorry, hold on.
Go
I'm
ahead.
just thinking. You said like things have nothing to do with F1, and my brain went hockey culture, F1 culture.
Shaking hands.
Yay!
Yeah.
Which we don't love, but it's
No.
okay. No,
Sorry, I
no.
was like, oh, it's really funny.
No, yeah, it's kind of funny that it pops up everywhere, not. No, I was gonna say this in the mention of when we say rookies and like where the rookies come from. Ken's kind of mentioned it before. There are subsequent levels below, so like you have to go through other levels of racing to even be qualified to get into a seat in F1. So if you're like kid, you're like start karting.
Yeah.
But the actual formulas are Formula 4, F4, F3, F2, which is directly below F1, and that's usually where teams that have reserve drivers, usually they're F2 drivers. You also have to compete in F2 to be an F1 driver. And then after you do F2, you can move into F1. It's like if you're comparing it to hockey, the kind of, but not really, the NHL, AHL, ECHL setup of like when you're called up to a league, that kind of thing. But F1's very specific on, again, you have to have certain points on your super license. We talked kind of about Colton Herta, who came over from IndyCar. IndyCar doesn't have the same amount of weights as the formulas do, so you have to compete in one of those to become qualified to be in F1. So there's a whole lot of background stuff, but a lot of the rookies come up through those ranks and are kind of pulled into whatever team signs them, but they have to compete in those to move into F1.
I do want to give a shout out. There is also like F1 Academy, which is like the women's equivalent.
Yeah.
We love F1 Academy.
However,
they're my fave.
We do have Dorian Penn, who is joining F1 Mercedes as a reserve driver.
Development driver.
Development driver.
The development is like
really
they're
exciting.
in the system to become a reserve driver or an F1 driver.
Yeah.
A lot of the teams like Lando and Oscar for McLaren, they both started in the development program, and then like the team decides whenever they want them to come up. They're like, it's your time now, and they pull you up. So Dorian's
like
in
a
that system for
huge
Mercedes. Yeah,
step
which is
right now.
gigantic.
Because she's insane. So F1 Academy cars are more akin to like F3 cars as opposed to like, they're not like a one-to-one with an F1 car. So it'll be really exciting to see her get more time in like a better car, and hopefully we can see our first female F1 driver on the grid next like 5 or so years. That would be, I think, really cool. And then hopefully she just wins everything.
And if you're wondering the difference, what's the difference between like an F1, F2, F3 car, it's a lot. The budgets are like completely different.
It's crazy.
So it's not the same thing. So essentially those are, especially like F4 and F3, they really have to make a lot with a lot less. So they have to make things work. So having Dorian being a developmental driver for Mercedes is huge. She won the F1 Academy Championship last season. She had a wonderful season. I'm really excited to get more into F1 Academy. I only saw like 2 races last year. I confess.
It's so much fun.
It's
to
so
get
good.
more into this year for sure.
Yeah.
And
also,
I'm
like
to see what's to come of that.
For people who are like watching F1, all the F1 teams have like they support at least one driver on the F1 Academy grid. So like they're directly connected to it. Some teams are better with it than others, I will say that. But yeah, so like they also share weekends, so certain weekends like F2 sometimes will be on the same F1 weekend. F1 Academy will be on some of them, but they're all directly connected. And Susie Wolf, who is Toto Wolff's wife, Mercedes
team principal for Mercedes.
She started it, which is really awesome. So it's it's only a couple years old. I think
4 maybe.
Yeah, I think because 4. Yeah.
The cycle is if you're an F1 Academy driver, you can only compete in 2 seasons, and then after your second season, you graduate. And then that's the hope, is that you go to another racing series or whatever it might be to get into F1. So that's that. But it's very fun and it's exciting, and they're all very amazing. And depending on what weekend you go to, they have like their little paddock set up and you can meet them, and it's amazing. So F1 Academy is where it's at.
Yeah.
Yep. Women in sports, guys.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. Yeah, I'm excited. I think it's a good program. I think there's a lot it's gonna come to it in the future. I'm excited to where it's heading. I think it's a wonderful cause, and
Yeah.
Susie Wolf, she is that girl.
Yes.
Yes.
She really is. I admire her. She really. I mean, both. They're like a power couple. Both
Yeah.
Susie and Toto, in my opinion, they're like, oh my god, you're like the power couple of F1. Honestly, I
No,
love
for
it.
real.
They're good.
But, yeah, but if you want to watch F1, it's exciting. I mean, as far as what drivers to keep an eye on, of course, you have your world champion of 2025, which was Lando Norris. That was his first championship. Max Verstappen is another person to watch out for. He was what, 2 points? He missed by 2 points.
Yeah, it was a little scary.
The championship loss. Other drivers too. As far as like newer drivers to watch out for, I would say Kimi Antonelli for sure. Oli Berryman. Alvin. He's the only rookie in the grid this year, but the one practice race he did in Max's car last season, he reminds me a lot of Max when he started with Red Bull. So I think he has a great future, and I'm a little
That's
excited
also
to see
scary.
Yeah, I don't need another one actually. Especially if he's like,
am I the only Max Verstappen fan in this?
no.
It's
It's
like,
I mean
more
it like in a
like-
scary, like he's just that good that you can't count him out. Scary.
yeah.
But also,
He's just that insane in a good way.
I worry if he has like Max's temperament, because Max is like known as like Mad Max sometimes because he gets a little feisty. See Abu Dhabi 2021.
No.
Listen, I love it.
No, I mean it in the sense that like he, no matter how far back, like you literally can never count him out.
No.
And like it's terrifying knowing that like someone that good is just like lingering in the back all the time. So
Like shocking.
It is
Especially
out of
when
like
he drivers in front of them.
Yes, it's out of admiration because like he is just crazy.
Yeah,
in a good way.
Yeah.
No disrespect
Which always
to him
stuns
at all.
me. Yeah.
Like actually, when he qualifies poorly, I actually then root for him because I'm like, I want to see just how crazy you can be real quick.
Yeah. That pit lane one.
Go off the rails.
Forget. So, and that goes to show he's just one of those drivers, I guess, that it comes, he does work hard. It does come naturally to him. I am a bit sad about the fact that I don't think we're gonna get much more Max Verstappen after. I don't know how that's gonna go.
People say this all the time.
Yeah, he has been talking about it a lot more. Only because he is doing good things on the side. He's developing drivers that like do like driver simulators. He's really like developing, getting them on real cars, and that's like a passion project for him. And I see
crazy
has a baby.
thinking about
He also has a baby.
It's just crazy thinking about like coming into a season and he's not on the grid. Like imagining that is wild.
It's gonna be crazy. So I think it's gonna be so boring, low key. Like we need that drama.
Yeah,
I don't know.
We'll get drama elsewhere.
They're always gonna find drama. But all the drivers to keep an eye out for, George Russell. I don't count him out. I know the average person doesn't like him, but I really believe that he can do great things this season, and that's Charles too.
Can I put a word in
anyone guesses?
Can I put a word in for Carlos because I feel like he deserves?
Yes, thank you.
Like after what he did in Williams last year, I fear that he is gonna just pop off.
I hope so.
I hope he does. But I feel like
I miss my little chili pepper.
I know. I feel like he's just flying under the radar, which might be good. But
he's so well
I'm hoping it's a good one for him, hopefully.
And the experience that he brings to the team is great. Also, the team principal of Williams is great. He used to be a director.
Is it Mercedes?
I remember Mercedes. So
yeah,
he has a lot of knowledge and he brings a lot of good things. And I think Williams is a team that down the lane, like in the next 3 to 4 years, you really have to watch out for.
Yeah,
these new regulations works out in their favor because you just never know. You don't know what's going to happen.
Fair enough.
Anyone guesses? I have no idea.
Yeah.
To like end the F1 discussion real quick.
Yes.
Who wins? Drivers? Who wins constructors? Go. Bree, you want to go first? Not who you want to win, who you think is
No,
going to win.
I think constructors will be Mercedes.
I agree.
And then you're gonna like hate me for it, but I think it's either Charles or Lando for drivers.
Really?
I
I
want
think
to
it's
say
either
Oscar too, but I like can't.
Yeah.
I in my
See,
heart. That's what I
the
feel.
thing about Oscar is and this is,
McLaren has
he
to like
always
learn.
starts strong. He starts strong in the
Yeah,
beginning of the season, and then the middle comes, and he just crushes him every single time. So I am hoping better things for him. I think he was screwed over last season. Not to take away that win from Lando, but I personally think was just screwed over by the team,
yeah.
and I
Again,
think he deserves to have a win. But if I had to guess, I think Charles.
see? Did you see? I sent you this post, Mackenzie, of we're reaching like Taylor Swift levels of like putting things together about why like somebody realized that all the last like 4 drivers champions from Mercedes, listen to me, from Ferrari, they all got married right before the season, and like the numbers all like the days people were adding numbers up, and like from previous, and I was like, okay, I usually see this on like Taylor Swift side of things, but I'm here for it. I sent you, it's like a post
Okay.
this long. It's like
Yeah.
what adds up. But like based on the very limited amount of what we saw of Ferrari in preseason testing, I feel positively, but
So,
we'll
I
see.
agree that Mercedes probably takes the constructors, although I think
Yeah.
it'll be close.
Yeah.
And as the fucking Charles Leclerc fan, I'm gonna say that Max wins the championship.
God.
I
Well,
You
think,
can never count him out. You
no.
cannot, because
but
most
especially
people
if he's,
that's them.
especially if he's going out, like if I,
Yeah,
True.
because I said this to
he
you
wants to go
last
out with
year
a bang.
when the end
Yeah.
of the season, I was like, if he gets 5 in a row, do we think that he retires?
Also, I feel
Yes.
like
So,
not like in a
Well,
sour
he's
taste in
patient.
his mouth, but he got that close last year to just be like, okay, well, if I can do that, if I start out better in this season, you know what I
yeah,
mean?
Yeah.
True.
we'll see.
And
But
you can never. I mean, last again. I go back again with last season. People counted him out, and he came out of nowhere. He just sneaked right
that's
up,
what I mean.
and he took the
Yeah.
opportunities away. And he was 2 points away. So if you really think about it, if that whole strategy McLaren did back in Italy wouldn't have freaking happened, Max would have gotten the championship. That's all
Yep.
I'm gonna say.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
Yep.
it all boils down to papaya rules.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
Unfortunately.
since we're talking about papaya rules, I think the last thing we can close on is about, should you watch Drive to Survive? I think, as a person who's getting into F1 and you don't know nothing, I think it's a good place to start. But once you really get into it, it can get kind of repetitive, and also it's not an accurate representation of how the sport works. It's reality TV at the end of the day, and they will manipulate things to create drama. So at the end of the day, if you really want to get into F1, I recommend you watch all races. You can get into the F1 app, and you can just watch previous races. You can watch interviews and things like that if you want to learn more.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. I do think it's a fun way to get into F1. I do think it is.
Yeah, and also if whenever you guys hear this, if you are like on the fence about it, if you're like me or like I like Yin, like just the race will be on, just watch it. Like
Yeah.
even if you're not fully like invested in it, just getting a taste of whatever might be happening. That's the best way to like immerse yourself. Same like if you're watching hockey for the first time you watch a hockey game is gonna be like, whoa, wait a second. Watching a race literally live as it's unfolding will probably be the best like gateway into it. I didn't watch Drive to Survive until after I was already an F1 fan. I haven't watched all of it, but it is very much drama based, and it's not very
It's more
accurate
about
to
the
what happens
drama,
in a
not
season.
about.
Yeah, so if you're thinking about it, literally just find an old race or look up when the next one is and just watch that, because I think that's going to be your best bet to really
Yeah.
exposing yourself to like what it is like in
I
the
got
best way.
5 minutes into the first episode of Drive to Survive and turned it off. So
Yeah.
I haven't seen
I
it.
want to watch all of it, but like I think I'm on like season 3, and I watched all of last season when I was in Australia with my friend because we were living through a cyclone and had nothing else to do before we left. So it was what we did. But
I
I
have
watched
a
all of it except this
season, the new
past
one, yeah, they left out so much. I heard, which I am
They did. They didn't show
not.
Carlos' podium. I don't think they didn't show
They didn't
Isaac's
show anybody's
podium.
podium. They left out
She
Nico's
didn't
podium. They
talk
left out
about the
Isaac's podium.
fireworks. Mm-hmm.
What's the point?
I have
Anyway.
an analogy.
Okay.
I have a 1-to-1. Maybe it's not a 1-to-1.
Okay.
For people who enjoy the Star Wars movies and think that 7, 8, and 9 are good as movies but not as Star Wars movies, I think that Drive to Survive is a good reality show, but it is not a good F1 counterpart, if that makes sense.
Correct.
Yeah.
Like, I think that that's the best. Like, I don't think that I don't think it's a good gateway to get into the sport. I think if you like reality TV and that's how you watch it, and then you're like, oh, maybe I'll watch a race, like,
Yeah. It's good to drag
but
you
it's
in
not
on
going to
the
help you
drama.
learn anything
Yeah,
about it.
it's gonna show you like whatever they think is more drama based, but you're not
Yeah.
gonna really
Yeah.
grasp the whole idea of what a race weekend is and like what goes into it through the show.
There's also a bunch
That
of
makes
watch
sense.
parties for races. Like I
There
know that
is.
there's a place in New York City that does like brunch. So if you're like curious, like maybe go to one of those and see like people cheering together, and I think that that's like a fun way to get into it too.
Mm-hmm.
So just options for
It's
everybody.
fun. Yeah.
It's, at the end of the day, we always want to have more people to watch F1. I think it's a great sport. I think it's fun to get into. And whatever way you get into it, as long as you get into it.
Yeah. It'll make you question your sanity later on, but it's worth it.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's worth
Don't all
it.
sports make you question your sanity?
Yeah, that's
all
true.
of a sudden, you're used to sleeping in the weekends, and then the next, you're waking up at 3 a.m. on a Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Because why
Yay.
not? To watch
Normal.
22 millionaires going room room.
Yep.
Lovely.
Life
But
I
I love
chose.
it. Yeah. It does take dedication to, when you really get into it, it really sucks you in. You are suddenly, so in the F1 app, you can actually link your Google Calendar with the F1 season. So like I have my alerts, so like it consumes my life. So I'm like, oh, just have to put alarms and wake up and
Yeah.
I love that.
dedication, but
Yeah.
it's fun. I always wake up. I literally just turn on the TV. I watch it and I just go back right to sleep. It's too early.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's definitely like a take a nap afterwards type of thing.
For sure, especially if you're, you wake up early, all for your driver to DNF. Oh, isn't that fun?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Really fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so F1's all said and done. Yin, do you have a current favorite read right now?
Yes. I recently got an early copy of The Paddock Club by Match Morrill, and oh my god, it's so good. She is a contemporary romance author. She's writing an F1 series. Her first book was Slipstream, which I loved, but The Paddock Club, dude, so
That's
good.
on my
That's like my
TBR.
favorite one right now. It's so good.
Okay.
We'll
I
move it
got
up on the
so-
TBR.
I felt so honored when she was like, "Do you want to get an early copy?" And I'm like,
Aw.
"Yes."
Oh, I love that.
Oh my god! So it's so good. I think she's so very. So you guys haven't read Slipstream yet?
I have not.
No.
I'm working
have
through all
read-
of my F1
Please
romances right
read it.
now.
I have read
So-
one
Read it.
F1 romance.
It might be next.
And that's it. So
Please. I think, out of all the F1 romances I've ever read, I think that is the most accurate, and it's really fun. She's just such a witty and smart writer. I don't
can't
even
wait
know how to
now. I'm
explain
so
it.
excited.
Yay.
Oh my god, now I feel like I'm hyping it up. I'm nervous. That's like my baby.
No, I've heard a
I
lot
love
of
it.
good things about
Yeah.
it. So like that just solidifies everything.
Keep me
Noted.
posted. Yeah, that's definitely my favorite. And I am currently working on writing an F1 series myself. It's probably not gonna come out probably late 2027, to be honest, only because I did start my hockey series, for those who do not know. And I really want to finish that out because people want it and I want to write them, and I have a lot of exciting things coming, so I'm excited.
Yeah.
I will be sat for every single one of them.
Yes, of course.
So yeah.
I have one. I haven't really announced it officially, but I do have my second book in the hockey series. Scoring Lessons is coming out October 1st. Brother's best friend, spicy lessons. It's great.
Wait, okay.
Sign me up.
Anything that's like he's teaching her
The
type
way you
of thing, like those like when I say like it's like delicious, like that's what I mean. Like good
Yeah.
romance. Like I'm so excited now.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm excited. Wesley it is about Wesley and Olivia, which if anyone who's listening, if you read False Play is about Henry and Kennedy, and Olivia is Henry's twin sister. So I'm really excited about that.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be fun.
I'm
Yeah,
so
but I do
excited.
have an F1 in the works. Obviously, when the ideas flow, I did started writing the first one. I think I'm like 10,000 words in already.
That's awesome.
Oh my god.
I love
We
that.
love it. That's so
It's
exciting.
like a good like heated rivalries coming out like spring and then summer. So it'll be right after. It'll be great. It'll be
Yeah.
good timing.
Yeah, I decided to do the release in October to get ready for the hockey season. I think that's the perfect time because I feel like that's when, like, like if you want to read a hockey, here you go. It's fun.
It's good
Great
time.
hockey all
Yeah.
year round though, and F1 too.
Yes.
All sports all year round.
Yeah. Where can people find you on socials?
I'm most active on Instagram at Yinn Quiros author. You can also sign up for my newsletter. I share a lot of private, like if you want to see like exclusive and like teasers of like upcoming works that I haven't shared on Instagram, that's definitely there. And you can also find me on TikTok and Facebook, same Yinn Quiros author.
Lovely.
But I'm most active on Instagram, so. And if you ever, if you read my books and you want to jap about them, my DMs are always open. I love to jap about.
And it would be
my
nice.
books.
No mean
Yeah.
DM.
Yeah.
Just in case anyone gets any
Please.
ideas. I'll fight them.
My feelings get easily hurt. Don't insult me.
No.
That's so real.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate you endlessly, and we just loved like yapping with you. And we hope to do this again soon about maybe a different sport.
Please, I love doing this. I think it was really fun, and we should really do it again.
Yeah,
maybe when hockey
Yes.
season starts next season.
Ooh.
Yeah. We have to get you to write a PWHL inspired series after your F1 series is done. Get the women in there.
You know what? Yes. Please.
Just give you more ideas.
We'll put it in
Maybe
there.
do like a little novella. So
Oh my god, wait. Yeah.
Because listen, I actually have a novella coming out in December that I can't talk a lot about yet. But what I can say is it's about the rookie who replaces Henry when he gets benched in False Play. It's about him. So it's like a little Christmas novella that I wrote about him.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Hockey
I'm
and
so
Christmas.
excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Also,
be living the best
so many
life.
things coming. I have a lot of things.
Yay!
So I am excited to write more about this world. And yeah, that is a good idea. I'm gonna
store that away.
You're booked and busy. It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, everyone, go read Yinn's books, and we will see you guys next week for some more hockey. Sound good?
Yay!
Bye.
Bye.